5 steps to turn your emotional triggers into transformation. Yes, emotional triggers are teachers, not our enemies. Now, you don't have to fear your triggers, but you can follow them. They are revealing what needs you truly need to heal from. Yes, your trigger is not the enemy, your trigger is a messenger. What if that overwhelming moment with your child? What is that overwhelming moment you're having is actually your inner child raising its hand for healing? What if your inner child is crying for healing so you can turn your trigger into transformation? Those triggers you have, those triggers we have, we can learn, we can begin to turn our triggers into transformation. So, what are the 5 steps we can use to turn our triggers into transformation? Number 1, identify the trigger moments. So, what moments make you react instantly and intensively? What are those moments? What are those situations? Could it be when your child is crying? Could it be when you get back from work? Could it be when you're hungry? Could it be when you're tired? Could it be when you're stressed? Could it be when you want to go to bed? Identify those moments you instantly react and you react intensively. For example, common parenting triggers could be tantrums. Maybe when your child is throwing a tantrum, it could be a trigger moment. It could be disrespect. Maybe your child is disrespectful. It could be a trigger moment. It could be when your child is not following through your family values. It could be a trigger moment. It could be clinging. Some parents are triggered when their children are too clingy. It could be a trigger moment. You know what is a trigger moment for you. We all have different trigger moments. It's our responsibility to identify those trigger moments. Those moments that get you triggered, you must be able to identify it. It's one step for you to turn those triggers into transformation. The second step, trace the trigger to your past. Now ask yourself, when in my childhood did I feel this same emotion? You can trace your trigger to your past. Ask yourself, growing up, when did you feel this same emotion? Did you feel dismissed growing up? Did you feel powerless growing up? Did you feel unsafe growing up? Did you feel unheard as a child? That's where your trigger was born. So you should be able to name your trigger to your past, because your brain is not reacting to your child. It's reacting to your memory. So today, trace your trigger to your past. Then number 3 thing, or the third thing we can do to turn our triggers into transformation, is to pause and redirect the pattern. Pause and redirect the pattern. In the moment you feel triggered, learn to pause. Don't respond immediately. Learn to pause. Learn to breathe. You can now say it loud. This is old pain. I am safe. I choose a new response. You choose your response. You choose how to respond, not to react. You have the power to choose how to respond. You can take 5 minutes to just take a break, to pause before you react, but you must be able to pause and redirect the pattern. That is one way to turn your triggers into transformation. The fourth way we can turn our triggers into transformation is to ask what the trigger is trying to teach you. So whenever you feel triggered, ask yourself, what is this trigger trying to teach me? What is the message here for me? Now, every emotional reaction is a window into something unhealed. Every emotional reaction is a window into something unhealed. It could be fear of losing control. Probably you're triggered because you're scared of losing control. Probably you're triggered because of fear of rejection. Maybe your child has done something, your child has said no to you, and you're triggered because you're scared of losing control as the parent of that child. Or maybe fear of rejection. Your child has said no to you, or someone has said no to you. You're scared of rejection. It could be when you're craving for validation. every emotional reaction is a window to something unhealed. When you crave validation, it's possible that you need to heal. When you feel disrespected, probably you feel your child has disrespected you, it's calling that you need to heal from something. Now follow the trigger, it will lead you to the roots. That thing you think it's a trigger, you can follow it and it's going to lead you to the root where you get transformed. That is why we can turn our triggers into our transformation. Then the fifth thing we can do to turn our triggers into transformation is to create a healing response plan. Now that you know the pattern, you can begin to prepare your response in advance. Remember the process. First of all, we said identify the trigger moment. So you've been able to identify those moments you feel triggered. Maybe during tantrums, when your child cries, when your child is clingy, when you're hungry. You've identified those moments. Number two, you've turned those triggers, you've traced them to your past. You can now relate that this way my child is reacting, I can relate it to my past too. Maybe when I was growing up, this is the way I felt. You've done that. Number three, you pause, you breathe, you redirect, you take some time before you respond. Then number four, you ask what the trigger is trying to teach you. You now understand that this trigger is possible. This thing is teaching me I need to, maybe validation. Maybe I need to work on my validation. I need to work on rejection. I need to work on losing control. You've been able to identify these steps. Then the fifth thing you should do is to create a healing plan. You now know when you feel triggered. You now know the patterns. You can now relate it to the past. You now know what to do. So what you need to do is to prepare your response in advance. For example, you can prepare in advance that when you feel disrespected, you're going to lower your voice and ask curious questions. So whenever your child disrespects you, you're not reacting in that moment. You've already planned, you've already prepared what you're going to do in case you feel disrespected. Another example could be you can plan, when I feel dismissed, what am I going to do? You can tell yourself, okay, whenever I feel dismissed at work or by someone, I will pause and I will say I need a moment. It's a plan. Whenever I feel dismissed by my child or someone, you can pause and say, oh, I think I need a moment. Predict the trigger. When you predict the trigger, you prepare for healing. So ask yourself as a parent, the last time you felt triggered, what did you do? Now that you've learned what to do, what can you begin to do differently? I want us to know that you're not a slave to your reaction. We are not slaves to our reaction. We have the power. We have the power to work on our emotions. We are in charge of our emotions because we are parents with power. Triggers no longer control you. Your triggers should no longer control you. Rather, your trigger should guide you into your healing. I believe this has helped. Please like this video. Please share this video and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.